Hey guys, it's Miss Landry, and I hope your Wednesday is going phenomenally well. I just wanted to really quickly go over what I expect on the posters that you guys are going to be starting today. I don't expect you to finish them, but if you do, that's great. So here is the first thing. Uh, you have to write down what question you're answering, right? So, for example, I might ask the question, can I use operant conditioning to get my son to eat more vegetables? Or if you're doing an experiment, maybe it's something like, uh, I don't know, something like, is there an average distance that Americans in Colorado feel uncomfortable when people get too close to them? Something like that. Then what you're going to do is you're going to write a hypothesis. Please remember the three things that make a good hypothesis. First of all, it has to be testable. Secondly, logical. And finally, in the form of a statement, not a question. So, in the example of the distance that people feel comfortable, I might say something. You can use if then if you really want to, if that's what you're used to. So, you could say something like, if a person uh, stands within 6 inches of another person, the second person will begin to feel uncomfortable and show signs such as fidgeting, stepping back, etc. With the one for the conditioning, I might say something like, if I provide positive reinforcement every time my son eats vegetables, then the behavior will continue. So those would be examples of hypotheses. The next thing I want is, what type of study are you doing? Are you going to do a conditioning study? Are you going to do an observational study, an experiment, a survey? So really quickly, just write down what you're going to do. This is the big part. I want a basic outline of your project. So this is where you're going to start to identify the different variables of your study. And it's going to be different depending on what type of study you're doing. So for example, if I'm doing conditioning and I choose classical, I definitely need to identify my unconditioned stimulus, my unconditioned response, so on and so forth. If I'm doing operant, I need to identify my target behavior. Am I going to use positive or negative reinforcement? What's the schedule I'm going to use? Obviously, with experiments, you want your variables. If you're doing a naturalistic observation, you want to take a look at like how often you're going to observe, how are you going to observe, that kind of thing. Sketches are amazing in this part, okay? So I really want you to kind of sketch out what your plan is. It doesn't have to be words. It can be pictures with labels. Just make sure that someone who's walking by the poster understands what it is. Next, I want you to include what type of data you're going to collect. It could be videos of a conditioned response. It could be the number of vegetables someone ate and what your positive reinforcement was. It could be, if you're doing naturalistic observation of cutting the line, it could be how many kids cut the line during lunch on a Tuesday, something like that. Sketch a graph of what you predict. And if you can't come up with this, that's okay. We can talk about it. But just kind of start thinking about, how are you going to collect your data? Just to go back to the data one, this is also where you want to start thinking about what type of final submission are you going to submit, because that will certainly help you decide how you're going to do it. So like if I'm doing a video, I know I need to get clips for the video. And then the last little bit on your poster is going to be, what do you need help with? Are you lost about like what to keep constant in a variable? Are you confused about what to use as a control? Are you not sure what type of reinforcement schedule is best? So kind of put down what you're struggling with, and the class will help you. That's it for the poster. Go ahead and get started on that. The posters are in the classroom. And like I said, I don't expect you to finish it, but at least get started. Thanks, guys. See you soon.